to the 1203 experience. It is another live edition of the 1203. We are here. Got started a little bit late, still working out some kinks with the show, but man, we are back live once again. Parker, welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. I mean, we have a lot of shit to talk. Let's just say that we have been vindicated. I think reports finally came out that are good news for Astros fans. I think so. We're gonna get into all that, but I'm excited.
Yeah, we might be running our mouths a little bit in today's show. It's going to be a good time, but uh, Parker, what you been up to this past week? I know you went down to Kerrville. Of course, we talked about it in last week's show. You landed a job down in your graduating town. What have you been up to?
Kerrville's cool, man. Kerrville's grown a little bit. I mean, it's still the same type of people, a lot of old people, but there's been development, a lot of new apartments, a lot of excitement going on, and went down there, got an apartment secured. Hopefully, if things go right, we're still working out the details on that, but it seems like it's going to be good. And I'm just ready to get down there and start on my own, man. I'm ready to kind of just get some space between me and the folks. And as much as I love being with them and hanging out with family, I'm ready to have my own little spot. So I'm excited. Kerrville is a nice little town, and that's pretty much what I've been doing, running around. My cousin had a wedding. I was in that. I know you're getting ready for a wedding, and I'm going to be in that as well. So there's a lot of weddings, a lot of excitement. People are finally kind of getting over all the quarantine crap, and people are starting to live their lives again. So for better or for worse, I mean, people are out doing things, and I tend to think it's better that people are smart, but they're out doing things and having fun and living life again.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think there's definitely still a threat of the coronavirus, and obviously the cases in Texas are rising. But at some point, me personally, you've got to kind of stop being scared of it and just live your life. That's kind of my opinion on the whole thing. I'm kind of sick and tired of Here's the thing. Eventually, it's gonna spread, and eventually, everyone's gonna probably get it at some point in their life. But
Yeah.
you can't just let the whole world sit and pause for this long. Um, anyway, that's a whole other tangent I went on. You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
mentioned the
I'm right
virus,
there with
but
you. Too. I'm right
you
there
know
with you too.
we are a tangent show. Thank y'all for joining us live on YouTube. Welcome to the live edition of the 1203. If you have anything you'd like to hear us talk about, or you just want to run your mouth a little bit, feel free to do it in the comments. We will definitely get to it. If you have any topics you want us to discuss that we don't discuss in the show, put them in the comments. We'll get to it at the end of the show.
We'll change midstream. I mean, if we get a lot of people commenting and they really want to know about something and our opinions on something, we'll answer them. I mean, like you said, we go on a lot of tangents. We kind of a wild ride this show, so we want the fans to interact.
Of course, fingers crossed that the internet runs a little bit better this time. Of course, if you tuned into the first show, our biggest
Yeah,
issue that we ran into was Parker ran into some internet
it was,
issues, but
it was on my end.
For sure. But I think I fixed that. Fixed that. I
fingers
shut down
crossed.
a lot of different devices. There was going on at that time, and I kind of overestimated the internet quality. I thought it would be better, but I've turned a lot of different things off, and it's just me and the phone right now. So there's nothing else. I'm not using anything else. Just going off the top of my head, looking into the phone. That's it. So hopefully the internet can carry us through.
I think that's when you're at your best. We have our first comment of today's show. My youngest
Woo!
brother, Ryan Graff, says, I heard on the radio that in Bexar County, which is San Antonio, they are fining
Yeah.
companies if they don't wear masks again. I think that's been happening all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I, I personally don't think that's something you should be allowed to do. You shouldn't be able to fine people for not wearing a
Yeah,
certain clothing, other than like you can fine them if they're running around naked. That's different. But
I get it.
I think you guys go to the oldmainentertainment.com. That's where you need to go. Go to Power Move Parker, Parker and Dad, a good podcast for stuff like that. We're doing one tomorrow, hopefully in the morning. We are going to talk about the COVID hypocrisy, and there's a lot of crap going on with that. I mean, if you protest and you're for a certain cause, then the virus apparently is not a factor. You're doing other things like going to work, living your life the way you want to live, then all of a sudden it is a factor. So I'm not saying obviously the virus is 100% real, but the way people have been covering it, a lot of hypocrisy there. And me and my dad will definitely get into that tomorrow.
that's Parker and his dad. Is that the name of the show? Correct.
It's called Parker and Dad. You go to just go Power Move, just go to the Old Man Entertainment, click on the Power Move Parker tab, and you'll see all my podcast I've done with him. So yeah, we get political on that one, and that's a big what your brother was hitting on. That's a problem for me because it's not a problem. That's not a those fines and things. Those exaggerations and aggravations. They don't come for everything. They come for certain things. To me, if you don't want people virus, you should be like that all the way through, no matter what they're doing, protest or not. But if you're being hypocritical about what you say
That's
is
a tough
bad and
word.
yeah, hypocritical.
It's a tough
That's
word.
the problem. Yeah, it's just the hypocrisy of it.
But
People selective. So here's another word for you: selective outrage. That's what it is, and we see it all the time in the media, and we see it with the Astros too. By the way, the Astros and Yankees, selective outrage.
we're gonna get to that. I do need to throw this out there. You mentioned your podcast. If you want to get a podcast fix over the next 2 weeks, either go back, listen to our old 1203 editions, check out some of the stuff Parker's done. The 1203 is going to be taking probably a 2 to 3 week hiatus. Parker mentioned it a minute ago. I'm getting married next Friday. It's Friday. Next Friday. So obviously, I will be out of town. I'm leaving Snyder this Friday. I'm leaving Snyder. I have one of my other best friends is getting married on Saturday, and then we're getting married the next Friday. So, of course, our honeymoon is going to be the week after. So I will not be around for a 1203 on the 26th and then the first Wednesday of July. And Parker has opted he's not going to do a show by himself. So the 1203 will at least take a 2-week break. But Parker will still be doing his Parker and Dad podcast. So you can still get your
once a week. And if something comes up and someone really wants to get on Power Move Parker by myself again, I'll do it. But it won't be the 1203. It won't be like this dynamic. It'll be more. I stopped doing Power Move Parker because I started getting into Parker and Dad and doing this. I do this for sports, do Parker for political reasons. So Power Move Parker, just me talking by myself, I haven't really had the need to do that. So I've stopped doing that. But I mean, if something comes up and somebody really wants to call into my podcast, we'll let things. I'm glad to do it. And also, I'll be making a little bit more. I'll probably fill in some little videos on YouTube, just doing some me talking into the phone about certain things. If something pops up and I want to make a quick YouTube video, that'll be something I do as well. Of course, Old Man Entertainment on YouTube. We're actually real easy to find on YouTube. It's in Old Entertainment on Google, and we're like the third thing from the top. Like we're up there. So you type us in, you find us, which is pretty cool to say. I mean, I was just doing that for fun on Google. And that name's awesome, and I think it's cool that when you type it in on Google, I mean we're right there at the top. So it's kind of cool.
I'm really interested to see where this whole Old Man Entertainment thing goes. It's such an interesting concept, and it gives us this creative freedom to kind of do whatever we want to do. We've already got a couple of our college buddies on board, and it's just exciting to be able to have another outlet to express our thoughts and stuff. And it also brought back the 1203. So the 1203 was dead for over a year, and thanks to Old Man Entertainment and this idea of Parker's and I's, it is back. So let's go ahead and get into the topics. A lot of people have completely looked over this fact, and they've decided to focus on the MLB negotiations. This is going to be a very baseball-heavy show, so if you're not a big baseball person, this might not be your show this week, but stick with us anyway because you're going to be entertained. We're firing some shots. Let us not overlook the fact that the Yankees are cheaters. They've always been cheaters, and they were pointing the biggest finger and riding the highest horse during the Astros scandal. Well, guess what, Parker? They're cheating too.
Yeah, and I had to block. I mean, you know that your little buddy Brandon O'Hara. I hope he sees this. God bless his soul. But he's probably. Oh man, I hadn't even thought about that guy, bro. He's the first guy that came to mind when all this shit was going down.
We should have had him on the show.
Oh man, we should have. I know. I just couldn't stand him. He's very negative. Obviously, he's a huge Yankees guy. Whatever, that's his thing. He's just annoying to me for other reasons, but that's one of the more annoying ones is because of the Yankees thing. But he the whole Yankees fans is kind of like that, man. They were so quick to fire the first shots. The Yankees fans, Yankees players. Aaron Judge was the biggest one of all, talking about the integrity of the game.
One of the biggest, yeah.
Yeah, one of the biggest guys, man. And there's video out there of him in the dugout, in the Astros game in the playoffs, him in the dugout, running over to the side and like the camera was on him, so he tried to cover up the camera. You remember that dugout clip of him kind of being scared, and so there was speculation of the Yankees cheating. And then I remember, I guess it wasn't Boone, but it was Joe Girardi, the manager before Boone. I remember him on MLB Network. He had a little clip of him talking about the cheating, the cameras up in center field, relaying it down to the dugout, and then they would make a thing on second base, and the hitter would know what was going on. He referenced that on MLB Network, and as soon as that thing on Twitter got a lot of retweets and traction, because Houston Astros Twitter is the best. They find everything. They started retweeting that old clip and bringing it back up from a few years ago, and they started bringing it up during this whole thing. Well, now fast forward, and all that stuff is true. It's very accurate. The Yankees cheated. It's in whatever the whole report came out, and there was evidence of that cheating, and there was evidence of Rob Manfred covering it up for the Yankees, so the Yankees could continue to be the cash cow that they are. I'm not going to sit here and pretend the Astros bring in the same amount of money as the Yankees. I'm not going to sit here and do that. The Yankees, obviously, there's a business behind what Rob Manfred did. He's a business guy. He's a commissioner, and he wanted to bring in the most the money he could. So he's protecting the Yankees, and they're supposed to be, the team, whatever. But they're probably the leaders in this, and the Astros got caught. Adam Byerly, a buddy we went to school with, was saying, man, the Yankees got caught cheating. They should vacate their title. Oh, wait, they didn't get one. So it was just pretty funny how the kind of back and forth is gone, because they don't have anything to vacate. They cheated, and they still couldn't beat the Astros. So I'm sorry. I guess we're just better cheaters. We've dominated the Yankees since 2015, I want to say. The Astros have really dominated that series whenever they play. So the rivalry is just heating up. And if we can get baseball this season, I'm ready for it. But it's just been a lot of – I talk about hypocrisy all the time. That's my biggest thing, my biggest pet peeve. Yankees fans have a lot of crow to eat. And Aaron Judge specifically, the leader of the clubhouse, that dude – I mean, dude, you're guilty. What do you want? The Carlos Correa going back at him was funny too when he said, wait, what? Because in the beginning, Aaron Judge tweeted that when the report came out that the Astros cheated, and it was all over Twitter, Aaron Judge quoted the tweet and said, wait, what? Well, Carlos Correa just did the same thing. That guy has a great memory. The report came out that recently that the Yankees cheated. Carlos Correa quoted that and said, wait, what? So it's just funny. The pettiness of the Astros is great.
For those of you that are absolutely clueless to what we're talking about, it came out earlier this week that there was apparently, a New York judge ordered that a letter that was sent from Rob Manfred to this judge during the whole investigation where they were investigating all these teams, he ordered that it be unsealed. Apparently, the New York Yankees and Rob Manfred have been fighting to keep that letter sealed because it apparently, from the reports that we're seeing, and this is all apparent, we don't actually know, the letter hasn't been opened, but apparently it has evidence of the Yankees cheating. That is what they're being accused of. It has evidence of the New York Yankees and Aaron Judge and ballot of the judge Yankees cheating apparently. And it's not even so much that they cheated that annoys me, Parker. It's not even so much that they cheated and that
the letter didn't just say that. The letter said Rob Manfred tried to cover it up too.
Well, so Rob Manfred he's currently covering up. That's the thing that makes me mad. It's like they are the Major League Baseball, not just the Yankees. Major League Baseball is taking legal action about this.
Yankees League. That's what it is. That's what it's been all my life, all your life. It's been about the Yankees. What can the Yankees do? Let's see how far the Yankees go. It's been like that. It's just frustrating. You're right. The Astros should get more respect, and they don't.
No, the Astros are the scapegoat in all this. Yeah. They were like, well, let's just tag the Astros with this giant penalty, and then we'll just brush it away. Just forget about it. It never happened. The Astros are the cheaters. No one else is cheating. We might peg the Red Sox a little bit, because they have Alex Cora, but and then all of a sudden this judge is like, no, you guys are cheating too. Here's the evidence, and they're like, put that away. It's like it's so blatantly obvious. I don't know how you defend this situation. I will take this stance until that letter is open and they prove that there is nothing there. But if there's nothing there, then why are you fighting so hard to keep it closed? There's obviously something there.
And here's the funny thing is I'm not letting Red Sox fans off the hook either, because you're right. They didn't get as much heat as the Astros did and their fan base. They were like, their biggest thing was, oh, we didn't cheat as bad as the Astros. We cheated, but we weren't at that level of cheating. Dude, you broke the rules. That's it.
Simple
It's
as
over.
that.
I'm a teacher now, and I'm understanding this more than anybody. If you hit a kid, if you hit a kid and you're another kid and you hit a kid, or you get in a fight, or one kid is the other kid harder than the other kid, both hitting each other. It doesn't matter how hard they hit each other. Both kids in the fight are going to get in trouble. They both broke the rules. It's not, you can't just select which rule, what you want to enforce cheating. Oh, cheating's okay up until this point, up until what the Astros did, and then now it's out of the question. No, cheating is cheating. Get over it. You guys broke the rules. We broke the rules. We both the Red Sox and Astros, they won titles from it. The funny thing is the Yankees did not win a title.
They did not win a title from any of this. They're not even good at cheating. Like they can't even cheat right. And then they're just mad. Maybe that's it. Maybe they don't want the world to know that they cheated and still lost. Maybe it's a pride thing more so than a protect their like dignity thing. Because if it comes out that they were cheating the whole time, then like A, you lost to like everybody, and B, you were cheating and you still lost. So then you also lose the only reason we didn't win the World Series, CC Sabathia, he's like, 2017 should have been our year. Well, if y'all were cheating too, then you can take that card away. You don't have anything. Like, you had something on the Astros because they cheated, Everyone's cheating. But you had something on the Astros because they had been proven to be cheated. But now that it's pretty clear that the Yankees were cheating too, using what seems to be a pretty similar system, now they don't have that card anymore. This might be a pride thing more than it is like a keep it clean thing.
And here's the thing: now the only fan base we really have to worry about is the LA Dodgers fan base. Oh wait, the LA Dodgers don't have any fans. My bad. Never mind. Because they don't. You go to any sports game in LA. The Lakers were big when Kobe was there, and now LeBron. The Lakers have kind of always been it. But now you go to LA, I mean, it's just a bunch of stars, and they just kind of go for the heck of it. That LA is not a true sports town. It's not. They have other things to do. They don't really care about sports as much as other towns that sports is all you really have to going for you, and you don't have Hollywood and all that other crap going on. So, yeah, LA's got a lot going on. They don't really care about sports. So when I joke about the old Dodgers, you find a Dodgers fan that actually knows about baseball. Well, it doesn't just show up every now and then and talk on Twitter. They're saying, oh, we're the rightful. No, you're not. You're still a bunch of sissies and you're a bunch of losers. And I'm sorry you didn't get the memo that you can cheat in baseball. It's been happening forever. I'm sorry the Dodgers didn't get the memo. They probably were cheating.
Oh,
Who
dude,
knows?
did you? I don't want to be a conspiracist here, but did you see the picture? Well, there's a like a TV in like the exact same spot in their walkway going from the bullpen, going from the locker room to the dugout. If you go to Twitter, you'll find it. There is a picture of Cody Bellinger walking past what is very clearly a screen, and like, what do you need a screen in the tunnel for? What?
Yeah, it's funny. That's the big out. Like that's the thing, and all of a sudden people got mad at all this. So well, now there's screens everywhere. I'm paranoid, and they're trash cans too. Oh, I saw a trash can. Oh no, cheating. Just the crying that old John Boy started. I wonder where he is. Where's John Boy during?
I actually checked on it. He has actually been like fighting. Now he's not actually being a fair reporter like he claims to be and like defending both teams. He's definitely homering the Yankees, but like he's not just quiet. So I have to give him that. He's not just sitting on the sidelines now that his team were cheated.
I'm curious his justification. I mean, is he making the same justification Astros are?
He's trying to play the whole "there's nothing there" card, even though there's very obviously something there. You don't take legal action over something that's not going to hurt your reputation. Like.
Yeah.
You don't waste that much money on that.
And this is going to be and the sad thing is, Reed, the only thing we're going to get out of this is going to be from Astros reporters, Astros insider guys that are from the Houston area that are going to dig and journalists that actually have an open mind, but that's very very hard to find. But it's going to be a lot of the Houston guys digging into this because the big money people aren't digging in. Fox is not going to dig into this. ESPN's not going to dig into this. None of the big major media outlets are going to press on this. I was waiting, and listen, I knew I would have seen it. I didn't really even want to see it because I was driving and I was doing whatever, but I knew it was going to pop up on my newsfeed if it happened. But Stephen A. didn't say anything about this. Guarantee he did.
Oh, and
I would have
ESPN
gotten the clip.
ESPN ran a program the other day talking about how the Yankees, I don't know what year it was one of the Yankees teams is the best team ever that didn't get their due diligence. And I'm like, you're really going to run a story talking about how they're the best team ever that didn't get noted enough while they're getting accused of cheating. Like, can you be any more obvious, ESPN?
How out of touch are they? They put their head in the sand. They put their head in the sand, and then they go off of John Boy. They use John Boy clips.
They'll run him on Sports Center, but God,
put him on Sports Center, dude. They put him on, and then they won't. Then they ignore perfectly good evidence of legal action being taken. They ignore that, the cover up and everything, which is still happening, but they go off of John Boy's word about the Astros. What's with that? What's with that bias that I can't stand of it anymore? It's just in everything you watch now. We see through it a lot more now because we're in the media. We were in the media. You're still in the media. We saw about being a journalist, and we took classes on how to be ethical. But do you see any ethical things happening in the mainstream media? Because I don't.
John Boy has no more credibility than you and I do. His subscriber count on his YouTube videos.
Put us on
Sports Center. Just because he has 80K subscribers and he can talk over a video.
Jones had a lot of subscribers too, Reed. He's crazy.
So maybe we just need a lot of subscribers, and then we can get on Sports Center just running our mouths about random things.
You can have followers. That's what it's about. If you have followers, it doesn't care what crazy thing you're saying. That's what it is, Reed. You figured it out. It's about the money and it's about the followers. If you can convince people to do something and you're charismatic, you have the followers, then heck, you can get a free pass to anything. I think that's what we're figuring it out.
I think that's what we've learned. So our 2 viewers, I need y'all to get us on Sports Center. So go get all your friends. We're going to get as much credibility as John Boy, and we're just going to shit on the Yankees constantly.
That's it. That's our only purpose.
That's what Old Main Entertainment has come to. We're just going to attack the Yankees. And to be honest, the most disappointing thing about this whole situation, I actually respected the hell out of Aaron Judge. I liked him. He seemed like a genuine dude. I don't remember where he's from, but he's from a decent area. He worked his way to the top. He's obviously always been a generational type talent. He's always been a huge dude, but he had a hole in his swing, and he still does. But he's fixed it a little bit. He might have been cheating, but the way that he came after the Astros and was like, he was so petty. He unfollowed Altuve because Altuve won the MVP over him and ran his mouth. And then you were cheating too the whole time. That's such a bad look, dude.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And the more we dig into the whole Altuve thing, which we've already talked about that. But
Altuve wasn't cheating.
He was one of the guys that wasn't cheating.
He was one of the ones that wasn't cheating.
Him and I think Tony Kemp, and there was a few other guys that just didn't. I know Josh Reddick to an extent spoke out strong. He said he didn't want that crap going on.
He didn't cheat much either.
He would go into the dugout and he'd make a scene if there was he was a veteran. He was like, guys, listen, I don't want this crap going on. I'm trying to hit the baseball. It's hard enough. All that banging going on. I don't want to cheat. I want to just go up there and swing and do my best. Altuve, the same way. Throw anybody under the bus, though. He didn't say. He said he took responsibility like a man. But then you have Aaron Judge, who's twice as big as Altuve, 3 times as big, but not near as much. I mean, if I had to actual measure who's more of a man, I'm going with Altuve, the guy who owned up to it, not the guy who said, "Oh man, it's so horrible. Somebody would cheat. Oh, darn them. I'm taking back my endorsement for him being MVP." That was just petty, man. That's a different kind of petty. That's just not being a man. It's going back on your word. I mean, the dude beat you. Whether he cheated or not, the more of the man thing would have been, all right, you cheated. I'm upset, but you still beat me. Even though you cheated, you still beat me. I still respect the fact that you beat me. You got around it. You beat me. You won MVP. I'm mad about it. But for him to say, oh, he doesn't deserve the MVP now, like Aaron Judge he lost a lot of brownie points with me when he did that. He went
Yeah.
back on his word.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, I really respected him. And he was one of the few guys in the Yankees. Him and Aaron Hicks, I liked them both, and I still like Aaron Hicks to an extent. But I lost a lot of respect for Aaron Judge through all this.
Mhm.
But I think that's enough on that. We will touch more on that situation as it develops throughout the future. But before we move on from the Astros and just talk baseball, I want to discuss their 2020 draft class. I thought they did a surprisingly decent job considering that they only had like 4 picks and they didn't pick until like the third round. So
Yeah.
they technically had a second round pick. It was like in the competitive balance, like I forget what it's called, but they got the pick because Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees. So it was pretty much a second round pick, which they didn't have their normal second round pick, but they had this compensation pick. And with that pick, they took Alex Santos, who ironically is from the Bronx. He's a high schooler who's just
I know who this kid is now.
yeah, he's just
I remember.
he's just a flamethrower. He's a right-hander. He played at Mount St. Michael High School. Apparently, he's really raw, but he's got really high ceiling. He's got really, of course, you'll hear the word when you hear baseball scouts. You'll hear the word projectability a lot, and basically what that means is you can see him developing. You can see that he's got a lot of room to develop. Alex Santos has that. I mean, he's got a plus fastball. I haven't really studied his off speed stuff a ton, but he's got a good looking pitching style, and I'm really excited to see how he develops in the system. You know me, I'm a farm system nerd. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I soak it up. So he's the exact type of guy that I like to see in a system. The guy that's going. Our internet is not doing very well over here on that video, but I'm really excited to see what he does. I think in the second round they took another pitcher, a guy who was his name was Tyler Brown. He was the closer for Vanderbilt a year ago. Apparently they're going to run him as a starter in the pros, even though he was a closer, really good closer at the college level. So I'm interested to see what he does. And then I think in the fourth round they took Chase Daniels, an outfielder from Tennessee, a guy who really only played 1 year of like a full year of college baseball. Had a pretty good year last year. He was a junior last year. It was his first like real good year. But he's real athletic, real toolsy. He was really counting on. He's the type of dude that had he put together a really good senior year this past year, had he gotten to play, he might have gone higher. So
Yeah. I liked what he said about him. Well, because you said he was from the Bronx. He grew up being a Yankees fan, but he said that's about to change.
yeah, he's like, oh, that's not a thing anymore. I'm an Astros fan.
It builds into the rivalry, though. It builds into this rivalry that has been fueled by outside factors and internal factors, obviously. Once cheating, whatever, beating the brakes off the other side. Turns out the other side was cheating the whole time. Now you get a draft pick from, someone in that area playing for Houston now. A longtime Yankees fan is now on the enemy squad. So it's if we can ever get to baseball, which I still don't know if we can with all this crap going on, but if we can ever get down to baseball being played, this Yankees Astros rivalry is going to be like anytime they play. I mean, the league's going to have to manufacture it where they do meet up somehow to some extent, because that's what people I think want to see. It's Yankees Astros. Let's meet up again. Let's see what happens. Let's do a series. I don't care what. Playoffs are going to be weird this year if we even get playoffs, because the whole thing about baseball, I've told you this, is the 160 grind. Well, now if we go back, it may only be like 40, 30 games. You're not really going to know who the best teams are in that stretch of time. Some teams don't hit their stride until like the 50th game or 60th game. So, I mean, it's going to be weird to see playoffs going forward. But what would make up for this season being so crazy is if the Astros and Yankees did meet up somehow in some way, form, or fashion. I think it would be good for ratings, good for baseball. If Manfred can make it happen, he should. But sports, I was optimistic even about football coming back, Reed, and I don't even know if that's going to happen. I know a couple of Texans players that got diagnosed with COVID, and I think some Cowboys guys too got diagnosed. So
Couple. I think
a
Zeke
couple.
did. Zeke Elliott did.
It's starting to spread.
And he was mad that the news got out.
Yeah, he was mad because he didn't want it to get out because it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
And also, he was a moron and was at a party a few weeks ago, so that's probably where he got it.
Yeah, no, he did. He got it from the party, rubbing up on. That's my thing is so some things, nobody cares. Other things people care, but that's just another whole other thing. But yeah, no, I mean, Zeke, whatever, living your life. You got to be smart though. You're a professional athlete. You're making all that money. You got to take care of your body. That's a big thing of mine. Is you're letting it get in the way of your work, and that's a problem. But yeah, no, it's happening everywhere. But there's probably other athletes out there too doing the same thing because these guys, they're used to doing whatever they want, whenever they want. They make a, they party, they play sports. That's what they do. That's their life. So they're not used to being told, hey, stay inside, don't do this. Some of them are really dedicated and smart and know, but there's a lot of them out there that are just like, come on, let's just do what we want. So yeah, it's tough to tell those guys that do something when they've been yes, most of them have been told yes most of their life. So I'm curious to see if sports is even going to be. I'm hoping it is, but I'm getting more and more pessimistic as the cases go up and the numbers go up.
Yeah, and we'll get to the whole MLB negotiations here in a second as far as that happening, but I want to set Parker off on a rant. There's a fuse, and I want to light it.
Well, I'm already been ranting this whole time.
Buster Olney somehow found a way to take the Yankees cheating situation and somehow make it. No, it wasn't even. It was the Yankees situation, and then it was the whole MLB players negotiation kind of standoff,
Yeah.
and he somehow made it the Astros' fault and Jeff Luhnow's fault. Parker, you read the article. What was your initial reaction when you saw that Buster Olney, who's a pretty big name in baseball media, was somehow twisting this to make it Houston's fault?
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be. Well, first off, clickbait is what came up when I first saw it. When I first saw the picture of them talking about MLB not coming back, or it looking like MLB may not come back, and it was talking about the negotiations, and it was just his piece on that. Pictures he used on the article were two guys who are not in the MLB. He used Jeff Luhnow and AJ Hinch, and that was the article. So for starters, if you want to know about media literacy and all that crap, most people, all they do, they read the headline and they see the picture. 90% of people, that's what they do. Okay? So first off, you're misleading them. You're misleading the masses. Them seeing MLB's not coming back, all of a sudden they see the Astros and they see Jeff Luhnow and they see the title about, whatever character the MLB is being, whatever, destroyed or whatever. The game is losing integrity or whatever bogus title he came up with. And they're tying that to the Astros, and their thing goes off, oh, well, Astros cheating, because that's all they do. They sit in front of a TV and they watch ESPN. Some of these people don't look up stuff for themselves. They just
Very few people look up. If I've learned anything in the past 5 years, is that no one does any of their own research. They just they see a headline and they roll with it.
We learned it from, we took college courses on the fact that we had to look up our own information. I remember taking media something with the Dale Blassingame or whatever it is. He talked about trusting your sources and looking things up, and he said you got to do it for yourself. And it was intro to media something, but it was a basic class we had to take. Being in the media, you have to be a kind of a step ahead of the general public. But speaking for the general public, if you're not in the media world, which I'm kind of not really anymore, I do podcasting, but you can easily get sucked into watching cable, looking on Twitter, kind of going with the status quo. You get busy. You can get caught up and not looking things up for yourself. Luckily, I have to work on that, and I still am working on that. I still have that mindset of anything I see, I look up. I just do, because Google's right at my fingertips. Might as well look it up for myself, get a couple sources on it, and see what the thing is. So anyway, the whole thing being said, he used a picture. He misled the masses. And then the people who did click on the article, they were introduced to a whole level of bullshit I haven't seen in a long time.
Oh, really?
Which was Buster Olney's spin on this whole lockout. He blamed it on Jeff Luhnow, the character of Jeff Luhnow, overlooking all the cheating going on and saying problem and, blaming it on Alex, whatever. He used Jeff Luhnow's fault, and then he made it trickle down to where it encompasses the whole MLB. It all started with the Jeff Luhnow mindset. He even called it Jeff Luhnow. He said it was the Jeff Luhnow disease. That's what it is. It's his mindset that has contaminated all the baseball, because apparently the Astros are the reason the baseball's never had integrity. Don't go back to the Black Sox. Don't go back to steroids. We'll talk about that soon, the steroid era. Let's not talk about that.
It's the best era.
Let's talk about what Jeff Luhnow did wrong. Yeah, no, it was exciting. That's for sure. But let's talk about what Jeff Luhnow did wrong. Let's talk about that, and let's make that encompass the reason the owners are greedy, the reason everything is bad in baseball is because of Jeff Luhnow and what happened with the Astros. And by the way, this article came out the day all the information about the Yankees doing their crap came out
Oh,
too.
the
So it
exact
was
day.
it was orchestrated. The whole thing was orchestrated. You could see right through the BS of all that. So there you go. There's my rant. It's a whole lot. I don't know how you can blame this all on one Astros thing, but Buster Olney, wow, he found a way. He's a great writer. He can do it. He bended it, and he said. And then when people called him out on that, he's like, "Well, you're missing the point. The point is you misled a lot of people.
The
The
point
point
is you're
is
clickbaiting everybody. Like,
the point is you pulled the wool over 90% of the people's eyes, and the 10% that saw through your BS and called you out, you're telling us we missed the point.
missed the point.
You're telling us we missed the point because we called you out. So I'm done. Buster Olney, ESPN. I'm almost done with all that crap. I know we got our own Old Man Entertainment. I can go to that for sports news if I want to go to somewhere because I'm getting so fed up with all these mainstream people telling me what I should think and all this crap. It's infuriating. It really is.
If you want, I don't want to call it unbiased, but if you want a media that's not going to focus on the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Patriots of the world,
Or the big coastal team.
come to Old Man Entertainment. This reminds me of back when the Astros were competing against the Yankees in the ALCS. The ALCS, they had just absolutely destroyed the Red Sox in the ALDS. Like, it wasn't even close. And like, they destroyed Chris Sale, they destroyed Craig Kimbrell. Like, so then they get to the ALCS, and I am sitting in, I don't know, I'm sitting in one of the dining halls at Texas State. It might have been the one, what's the one, Harris, the one next to Blanco. And I'm sitting in Harris, and it was a good one. And I see this Colin Cowherd's on TV. I'm like, oh, Colin Cowherd. I've always liked Colin Cowherd.
So I like him too.
It's like, oh, he's talking about the Yankees and the Astros ALCS. I'm curious to see what he thinks. This dude doesn't even mention the Astros. He goes, he starts talking about the Yankees. He's like, the Yankees are playing the Houston Astros in the ALCS. I'm really curious to see who they're going to play in the World Series. I think it's going to be the Dodgers. That'll be a great World Series. I'm like, dude, we haven't even started the series, and you already have the Yankees. Like, oh, they're going to be. I can't wait to see who they play. And then, of course, they get up 3-2 in the series. He's probably already buying his tickets to go to the LA-New York World Series Game 1. And then the Astros come back, cheating or not. Of course, now we know that it doesn't matter because the Yankees were cheating too. So it's an level playing field there. That the Astros came back and just whooped up on them. That's one of the biggest things I can ever remember of mainstream media focusing on those big market teams. Even though if you look at Houston, they're one of the biggest markets in the country. They've got an NFL team, they've got an MLB team, they got an NBA team. Like, what more do you want? They've got an MLS team. So, like, to not focus on them because they're not big market and to focus on the New Yorks and the LAs, which they've just been whipping up on for the past 5 years, the fact that it is still there at this point, and now we're to the point where it's so badly biased that one team is accused of pretty much the same thing as the Astros, and they're not being treated with the same level of scrutiny. It doesn't get any more blatant. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say about. I know you were on my side on this, but here's what I'll say to the people that don't. Oh, y'all just talking to Houston. Go to any. I mean, at the Astros, the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons or so, you go to any Astros game, home or away, the fan base is traveling. They're in there in large numbers. They're traveling. They're supporting the team. The Astros are almost like a traveling circus. I mean, they go somewhere. Houston fans and Astros fans, they make sure to buy tickets and travel with the team. That's how dedicated a sports town Houston is, and especially when things are going well. But they were traveling with the Astros. They were supporting their team. They were going everywhere. They were showing out in big numbers. And yeah, they have stars. Altuve, you go to the Texans, Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt. The Rockets, Harden, Westbrook, whatever. The Houston sports have always had big name guys and big name draw. So for them to say, and you go to any social media page, whether it be MLB Ox or ESPN, MLB or whatever, you see a lot of Astros fans in full of force. And anytime there's a poll to vote on, Astros fans make sure to vote the heck out of those polls. So I'm just saying, there's more Astros fans out there. They may be scattered. They may not all live in Houston. They may be scattered around, but there are huge supporters of the Houston Astros and organization. I think that just kind of cemented this whole thing is cementing the Astros fandom and making them even more stubborn to support for their Astros. Because right now it's kind of a rebellion thing to support the Astros now. I mean, they were the good guys for a while, and everyone was like, "Oh, the Astros, that's a cool team. They're cool. They got a bunch of young guys. They're friendly. They always seem like they're having fun." Well, now it's about, "Oh, the Astros suck. They're bad. They're all low character guys." Well, now fans are going to have a reason to support the Astros even harder because they're being told now their guys are bad. Now it only if their guys cheat, not if the Yankees cheat or the Red Sox cheat. Only matters if my team cheats. Apparently, that's what's bad is my team. So now it's even going to cement the Astros fandom even more. So I'm excited about if we ever get back to baseball. I'm excited about the potential Astros fans being loud and crazy and it's going to be obnoxious in Minute Maid Park. I can already tell you if it gets to where fans are allowed back in, but it's going to be fun.
And that's the big question, right? Are we going to get to have baseball again this year? Because
I don't know.
The past week makes you feel probably not. Like from the discussions, I think the MLB, the owners came out with, the players wanted 120 games. Owners didn't even bother answering. Came back with 50. Then the players were like, okay, what about 80 at full? And when I say full, I mean full salary. So they said 80 at full, and the owners were like 60, like 75%. Which, if you do the math, 80 at like 50%, and then 60 at full is like the same. So like that is just an insult at the players. It's like, hey, we'll have to play less games, but it'll just equal that same amount. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're not willing to pay you full salary for 80 games. Well, we'll pay you the equivalent of that for 60 games. And it's like, that does nobody any good. It doesn't solve the issue that they're facing. Yeah. So then it almost came to a head. I think it was like 2 days ago, where basically the players, the owners said the players weren't working with them, and they said something to the effect of like, I forget what Manfred said, but he said something real stupid. So like a week ago, Manfred said that he was 100% certain that they were going to play baseball again. And then like 2 days ago, all of a sudden he's downgraded it to, I am not 100% certain that we're going to play. Huh. And the players have rebelled. I hate Trevor Bauer. He's a punk, but go check out his Twitter thread about it. He is spot on. Spot on.
And he's a loud voice for the players. He's really a loud voice for the players. Bregman is a loud voice for the players. Between all this crap going on in the world right now, their players are pretty adamant about, listen, if we're not going to get our way this season, then you guys aren't going to get, it's not even their way. They're willing to compromise. The owners aren't. If they're not going to get a little bit of something. And right now it's getting down to maybe 40 games now, maybe 30. So, I mean, it's getting lower and lower and lower. Every time I turn on the TV and a deal's not being made, the number of games just goes down. I mean, that's what's happening.
So John Heyman came out today. He was a pretty big-time reporter, but he's lost a lot of credibility over the past few years. Especially, he came out and reported saying that the MLB and the MLBPA were close to an agreement today. This was earlier today. And then immediately, like 3 or 4 different sources were like, that's not true. The MLB Players Association said that the reports of an agreement is false. And so John Heyman's reputation took a hit today. But that's neither here nor there. But it sounds like they made progress today. And the last I saw was about 60-something games at full salary, which I thought was something that they disagreed on earlier. But it's such a fluid situation. I think, honestly, it almost seems like the players are like, dude, just tell us where, and we'll play. Like, they're all tweeting hashtag win and where. And it's like, or something like that. It's like either win and where or tell us when or something like that. The players are over it. Like, they're like, dude, we just want to play baseball. We want to play baseball, and we want to be paid, fairly. That's all we want. And the MLB, the owners are just trying to save every cent they possibly can, and it's just been a bad look. It seems like most media is on the side of the players, because I don't know how you're not. The players have literally said they just want to get paid what they're owed, and they want to play games. That's all, that they want to play as many games as possible. They want to play baseball. And the owners are... What I think the owners would have more sympathy if they hadn't been doing all this, cutting $100 off minor league stipends and cutting minor league contracts at $400 minor league contracts at the end of June and stuff like that. So like if they had kept paying everybody in full the money that they owed, because we know they can, they're billionaires. It's like this is a little bit different from like some other leagues. Like in Major League Baseball, like there's no salary cap, there's none of that crap. So like you have the money, especially at the minor league level. You can afford to pay those guys what they're due. Like there's no excuse not to, right? So I think that's part of the issue. It just felt like for a while there they were just button heads, stuck at a stalemate. It seemed like today they made a little bit of progress with a potential mid-July start, but I still wouldn't keep your hopes up. I guess we'll see what happens, but that's kind of the latest on that situation. A bunch of rich millionaires arguing over pennies, but when you get into that we're down at this stratosphere, Parker. We're down here. Those guys are, as far as financial goes, I mean, they're in a completely different financial stratosphere. And when you sign a contract, you want to get paid your contract, especially when you're a minor leaguer, when your contract's worth like $20,000 for an entire season. Like you want that money.
It makes sense. And then you have on the opposite spectrum people getting laid off from their jobs who, can't even make rent or whatever. And there's just a whole people that are real low, like the common people that are just trying to get away, trying to find an escape, wanting sports to come back just so they can get away from their crappy lives. Because right now, a lot of lives are crappy right now for a lot of people. People that are really even a lot lower off than us. I mean, there's people really, really struggling out there. I mean, I'm in the city now more in Houston, and I see it all the time. I mean, people really having to scrape by, people not making rent, evictions. I mean, there's all kinds of crap going on in this world, and so people need that escape with sports. People need it now more than ever. And also another thing I think about the reason I'm not optimistic about not just the MLB, but I know the NBA, it's set up, it's coming back, whatever. But now there's a lot of stars starting to kind of piggyback on what Kyrie Irving said about, well, maybe it's not a good time to be playing right now with all this Black Lives Matter protesting and all this stuff going on with police brutality. They're thinking maybe we should just not play the games. There's certain stars that are piggyback on that. Kyrie Irving said it. Steven Jackson, a former NBA guy, said it. Austin Rivers, the guy for the Rockets, has now come out and said it. And I think more and more players are going to come out and say, well, this doesn't feel right with all this police brutality going on. I don't feel like we should be playing an NBA game for all these people that, because there's a lot of white people that don't agree with all like the protesting and the riots. They're out there. They just want to watch basketball. And I think they're kind of a confliction with that. And I just think there's a lot of sports fans out there that just want to watch sports. They don't want to see all this extracurricular stuff. I know that's my dad's generation. I'm sure your dad's the same way. They just want to watch the game. They don't want to get caught up in all this political mumbo jumbo protesting crap. Why can't we just get to sports? We're already having a bad time as it is. We just want to escape. We don't want more drama. That's a fair take. And that's a fair – people are saying, oh, well, you don't want change. You're not for – you support police brutality, all that. No, that's not what that means. What that means is we're tired of the politics. We're tired of some people can do this, other people can do this, whatever. We're tired of all the games being played. We want to actually watch sports. We don't want to watch all this other showmanship and, oh, I care more than you because I'm taking a knee and you're not, oh, yeah, all this hoopla from all these millionaires. It's like, dude, you're paid to play a game. You make an enormous amount of money to play that game. There are people who don't agree with you politically because that's what it is. It's a political thing. You look into it. That's what Black Lives Matter is. It's a political thing. It's not an unbiased thing. There are political motives behind it. So people are just getting that's a whole different rant. People are just getting kind of, whatever they turn, there's no escape to the crappy world and the situation we're in. And people are looking for an escape. This is not time for a whole movement or whatever you want. People want to watch sports again, and they want to be entertained by someone who is really good at who's really good at playing sports. These guys who are really good at playing sports, same goes with the actors too. They're really good at acting. They're really good at singing. People really good at playing sports. As far as their political opinions go, I don't give a crap. That's not what we pay them for. We pay them to do their thing. So it's a whole mess of things, Reed, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand from my side of it. It's just can you just play the game, please? A lot of people are struggling right now, wanting an escape, and we're not being able to get it. We're still have to turn on TV and see this crap, even in sports. Sports used to just be everybody watching sports and having fun. That's what it used to be, and I hope it gets back to that, but I don't know.
And I think that's a big reason why a lot of these documentaries are doing so well right now. You know, like Tiger King and The Last
Oh, the
Dance,
old documentaries, yeah.
and then of
Tiger,
course
yeah.
the Roy Holiday one. I watched that one the other day. Just yesterday, I watched Long Gone Summer, which I want to talk about that. We mentioned it earlier. So Long Gone Summer, if you haven't watched it, it's a 30 for 30 on ESPN. I know we just crapped all over ESPN. The one thing they do well is 30 for 30s.
That's all they had was sports documentaries. I'd be okay with that. That would be cool.
They could just focus on that, and I'd be cool with that. Like Sports Center, I don't. Even, do you even watch Sports Center anymore? I can't remember the last time I turned on Sports Center.
I don't watch Sports Center. I don't really get on sports radio. I watch Netflix and Hulu, and I get all my information from my phone and my laptop. I do a lot of my information that way. If there's certain clips I want to talk about from cable news or cable sports, I'll pull that clip off the internet and stupid it is that someone said that, but that's about it. As far as I'm concerned about getting actual information from Sports Center and FS1 and all that stuff, I don't do that. I can't tell you the last time I turned that on.
Yeah,
I really haven't.
Neither can I. I think the closest I'll get is like a YouTube clip of like a First Take or what's Skip Bayless's show called? Undisputed.
It's called Undisputed with him and yeah, I can't stand. I love Shannon Sharp. He's funny. But after the fifth skip, I can't.
That's fair. That's fair.
He sings and through all this whole protesting stuff, he's singing the same tune over and over again about it's just a whole bunch of crap. And I'm just like, dude, this is not a political show. This is watch sports, please. But it gets crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, I mentioned Long Gone Summer. I watched it yesterday. Of course, Long Gone Summer focuses on the home run race between Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals. This is 1998. Mark McGwire versus Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs. They are racing to break Roger Maris's single home run record, which was 61. It was 61. The number to get was 62. So the race all year long, it was supposed to be, going into the year, if you watch the documentary, it breaks all this down. It was supposed to be Mark McGwire against Ken Griffey Jr. But Ken Griffey Jr. about halfway through the year kind of tapered off. He just, he wasn't a roided up guy. I mean, if you listen to his interviews, he barely lifted weights. Like he was just a freak athlete.
He was a lean. He had a good swing. But
Beautiful swing.
You compare him to McGwire and Sosa, he didn't look anything like.
No, he wasn't that type of build. He wasn't on roids, or he might have been. I don't know. We'll get to that in a second. But he definitely wasn't like roided up to where he was trying to hit homers. He was just a freak athlete. But so Mark McGwire, of course, was a giant human being. An absolute giant human being.
He looked like a video game character, bro.
He looked like your Road to the Show character from MLB. Like he was like huge, giant shoulders, red hair, Southern boy. I think he's from Southern California. Apparently, had hit homers his entire life, and then he ended up racing against Sammy Sosa, who was a guy who had a couple good years with the Cubs, but hadn't really been an MVP type guy until 1998, when all of a sudden he absolutely popped off. And he was another dude that was very big dude. He wasn't as big as Mark McGwire. He wasn't as tall. He was much more athletically built. He looked more like a running back than he did a baseball player. Like a Yasiel Puig type, but he was huge, and obviously he hit tanks. So these two dudes went back to back all year long, trying to break the home run record, and of course they finally met up. Both had 68 home runs. I think they both had 58 home runs, and they met in a 3-game series. I think it was in St. Louis, and Mark McGwire popped off, hit 3 homers in a game. And he got the record, so he hit number 62 while Sammy Sosa was in St. Louis. It was actually a really cool moment. I didn't know about the moment, to be honest. I'm a baseball guy, and I didn't know about the moment that he broke it, that they were playing against each other. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty rare. What a coincidence! But I know you haven't seen the documentary, but what do you think of the whole race to 62? And of course Mark McGwire ended up hitting 70, but what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I saw enough of it. I mean, I've saw clips and stuff. I didn't see a specific thing of it, but I saw like certain clips of. I thought it was just cool, man. They had the little graphic of, Mark. He kind of took off in the beginning, and then Sosa was right behind him, and then at one point they were just neck and neck until the very end. And so it was cool seeing like the bar graph or the line graph of how their home runs were like the numbers were kind of crossing and going like that. And I just thought it was exciting. I mean, I think baseball's fun when you hit home runs. Football's fun when you score touchdowns. I've said this before. I think home runs, touchdowns, 3 points, all those things are fun. That's why people watch the game. There's certain aspects of the sports that people get into and dive into, but the general public, they love those things. And I'm kind of a softy for those things too. I love seeing a good old bomb. And those were those guys did. They put on a show and they were competitive and it was clean. And at the end, it wasn't clean as far as roids being used, but it was clean as far as how they treated each other. How they treated. I didn't mean to say clean. I misused the word, but how they treated each other with respect. And like you said, it was 1998. The race was fun. Both those guys were just muscled out guys, and but it was still cool to see. I mean, I don't think as a fan, I know it's against the rules to use steroids, but as a fan and a spectator, I'd like the fact that there was two jumboed out guys with wooden sticks hitting crap out of a baseball and it going 100 miles per hour, it going 100
Like
miles,
500 feet.
Yeah, I love those bombs that were being hit. So it's fun to see those highlights. It's fun to go back and see just how big those guys were, and they were from completely different type of guys, different backgrounds, but they were coming up. They were battling it out, and Mark McGwire ended up getting the better of Sosa, but no respect was lost between the two of them. They loved each other. They hugged each other. They hugged out, and they respected the game, and they respected each other. So I thought it was cool to see those little clips of how they were competitive on the field, but as soon as the thing was over, it was just excitement, and it was cool because they were in the same division as well, Cardinals Cubs. So that was another little added thing to that. Was an NL Central kind of feel to it. So it was a showdown between divisions as well. So those two teams were seeing a lot of each other. So you got to admit they had a lot of chance to talk crap and go back and forth on each other. And I can't remember ever that being a thing. I think they were just clean. They were just guys that were just having fun, hitting bombs. They were worried. They were worried about the record, obviously, but they just had fun. They were playing the game, and they just happened to be really good at hitting home runs. So I thought it was exciting to see. I love excitement like that, so I thought it was cool.
Well, and it helped that Mark McGwire had muscles coming off of muscles. But watching that clip, he had a pretty solid bat flip. I mean, he had the whole hit it and then like just kind of let it go and flip it, like just a very like little flick of the wrist, let it go. It was a clean little bat flip there from Mark McGwire. But dude, they were so different players. That was the thing about it. Like Mark McGwire was not a 5-tool dude. He was not. He was a big power hitter. And Sammy Sosa was a 5-tool player. He played the outfield. He did everything. He had speed. He had contact. He was a true superstar.
I hated playing against Sosa. I remember playing against Sosa, Moises Alou, and not me personally, but the Astros teams I grew up watching, playing Sammy Sosa's Cubs, and playing Moises Alou and all those guys that were with that team. And I just remember Sammy Sosa going out there, and I was like, damn, you can't hit the ball towards him, and you pitch to this guy. You can't do anything with him. I mean, roids or not, the dude he was not fun to play against. And so, yeah, I remember him just annihilating the Astros night in, night out. I don't remember a whole lot of the McGwire Cardinals era. I guess I wasn't really a baseball guy yet, but I do remember a lot of the Sammy Sosa Cubs era against the Astros. And man, that Cubs team was they would eat our lunch, man. It was bad.
Well, it's funny when you think of the steroid era, you don't think of Mark McGwire. He's not the first name that comes up. It's the first two names are Barry Bonds and Alex Rodriguez. Those are the first two names. But if you really think about it, Mark McGwire was the first really big steroid home run hitter. It was him and Sammy Sosa. They were the first two dudes to kind of make hitting these extravagant home runs with these crazy long homers a thing. And then Barry Bonds came through, hit 71, broke Mark McGwire's record, and all of a sudden now it's a bad thing. And of course, another really interesting thing about the documentary, really interesting to me, was how Sammy Sosa was like bewildered that it was a bad thing. Like, he was like so confused. He was like, well, I didn't do anything wrong because everybody does it. And that was his stance on it. And he was like, I didn't know it was wrong. Like, I saw other dudes in the clubhouse doing it, you know?
Yeah. It was a culture thing.
It was the culture back then. And it makes you wonder how many players were on it that we didn't know were on it. So, like, there has to be hundreds.
There's a lot of unspoken rules and everything. I mean, anything you do, you go to work, and there's certain ways that technically you're not supposed to do things, but every other person you work with does it that way, and the person ahead of you and your boss and everybody down the line does it that way, and you're surrounded with everybody else doing it that way, but it's technically wrong. But everybody's doing it, so it doesn't feel wrong because the culture around it kind of supports that. So as much as you want to get mad at the personal people doing it, kind of have to take a look at the baseball culture at the time. I'm sure the commissioner at the time was fine letting it slide. The home run race it was fun. It was good for the game of baseball. So therefore, it's kind of like, yeah, well, technically it is wrong, but it's creating ratings, it's creating numbers. So you turn a blind eye to those type of things. And cultures like that, they create a lot of unspoken rules and unspoken ways people do things that they would never want to be public about. But every business, every sport, everything in life that involves humans break rules. That's just it. We do. We look to find loopholes. We think the rules apply to everybody but us. That's how humans operate. It's historical. It's going to be till the end of time. Humans are all about getting by the rule, even if it's just something as little as speeding or not stopping at a stop sign or little things like that. People do it. And so there's you build that culture of everybody doing it, so it must be okay. And it's really hard to stop and stand up, do the right thing. So I don't blame the individual players more so as I blame the culture.
And I think that's a fair point. I think that's a good place to end it there. Another great episode of the 1203. Unfortunately, Parker, this will be the last time people can hear our beautiful voices for a few weeks anyway.
We'll be back.
We'll be back for sure. Of course, Parker will be coming down to my hometown next week. We are going to be spending a couple days at the lake for the bachelor party, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
We're gonna make a little quick. We'll have to do a little quick 30-second, 40-second YouTube video of us just hanging out. We might keep the YouTube page going while we're down there, not to show anything crazy, but just us kind of hanging out. That
maybe
might
just
be fun.
Some dumb lake videos, maybe just like recorded with the phone. That might be funny. Yeah. Remember remember in college we did a live stream of the it was one of the playoff games.
It was one of the playoff games. It was the Astros.
Could do something dumb like that.
Facebook Live, and we got a lot of feedback on that.
Could do something stupid like that. Out fishing.
My Facebook audience is pretty loyal. I mean, I remember getting we got a lot of comments and people sharing and liking that and feedback on that because Facebook Live, people love that stuff. So yeah, we could definitely do something into that possibility. That'd be fun. I would like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll look into it. But the next live episode of the 1203 will be the second Wednesday of July. So make sure you don't miss that one. And then from then on, we're going to hit the ground running at Old Man Entertainment. Hopefully we can get oldmanentertainment.com purchased and get that set up. We're going to keep pushing out new content. We're going to keep finding new ways to keep y'all entertained. So thank y'all for coming by today at the live show. And thank you for tuning in to the 1203.